Hey guys, it's Eagle, and welcome back to another episode inside a technological journey. Had a great episode last time and we completed the plat line. We were omitting this last part, but we did that on stream. So, a lot of progress is being made on stream too, and I encourage you guys to go ahead and check those out as we're doing a lot of cool stuff on there right now that maybe we'll be able to tease a little bit in this episode. As well as completing the plat line, we also completed more of the nuclear line. So, we completed a lot of quests that way here in the EV age, and we are just about completely done with this. We just have a few more multi-block machines that we need to make in order to complete this quest book out fully. But today, we're going to be doing a little bit of work in the IV age, and we have done some work here as the plat line, the advanced plat line was part of that, but we're going to truly get into it here by creating ourselves some IV power, some IV assemblers, and some other cool stuff like the assembly line. Alright, and here we are back at the main crafting area. As you can see, I have a little bit of a plan here and some stuff we need to get done today. And the first, most important thing to kind of really get us going into IV is to make the IV assembler. So we've got the thing ready to be crafted here. We just got to hit assembler, and we have the recipe here for the IV one. And if I did everything right, we should be able to craft that up. So we'll go ahead and give that time and let that make that, and we'll be ready to go. Now these are just kind of some main bigger goals that I want to get working on, but there's some other small stuff that I'd like to get done as well. As you can see over here with this colorful tower of super tanks, we went back to distilling liquid air. That was because we needed a lot more nitrogen around the base for making nitric acid. It's going to help keep our fuel production going, as well as get some other pretty cool stuff that we're going to need later down the line. But as we can see, there's some really cool stuff on here, like upgrading our cells to the battery tower so we can start moving IV power around the base, getting that rhodium plated palladium that we did all that work in the plat line for, which is just going to allow us to actually use some IV and even make some LUV components. So, super exciting. While we are waiting for that IV assembling machine to finish, I want to talk you through this setup that we made over here. So, this is going to be the initial part in creating ourselves some rocket fuel. This is going to be very important for us in moving around some EV power to upgrade a lot of our fluid plants, as well as getting into some other things like the basic large miner. But firstly, we have our drawer here that has been collecting coal coke since the beginning of the series. It's the one from that main room back there. This is going to be making coal tar. And then we have this distillation tower that is creating a bunch of different things. But the main thing we are looking for is this kerosene. So it only is going to take a couple more machines for us to create ourselves some RP1 rocket fuel. So a couple more things here. Let me grab those and then I'll show the setup of that. All right. So this setup should be fairly simple. We're going to be taking the kerosene. It's going into the system as we have storage buses on this. We have a fluid interface going into this distillery on circuit 0. This is going to be supplying it with kerosene, but in order for it to actually go in there, we're actually going to need a pump. So we can grab ourselves a pump. A basic one should be fine for the amount that we're going to be using. Put that on the back there. We're also going to want to configure it so that it is importing. That should be fine. There we go. Now that's filling with kerosene. And once we get this thing hooked up with power, it should give us all we need. We can actually set the output to be, oh, not there. We want the output to be there. Okay, so that's going to go there. Now this is going to send in to a mixer. So we need to get a mixer. I think we're going to make a HV or an EV one here. We should have everything we need to make it. Yep. And then we can have the mixer set up here. So the actual RP1 will go into the mixer. And we're going to need to supply the mixer with liquid oxygen. I haven't really talked about the setup for that yet, but we just added a fluid hatch over there on the vacuum freezer, and we can request a little bit of that. So might have to do some configuring to make sure that we always keep this thing stocked up with liquid oxygen. But for right now, we're just going to put another fluid interface on that. We're also going to want to make sure that this is set to, actually, we're going to have the output on the top there. So we're going to have the output on the top because we're going to put that into a tank. We're going to want to put fluid output on. And in here, we're going to want to take the RP1, put that in there. We're actually not going to need to do, we'll put it there just in case we get some in the system somehow. But we need liquid oxygen. Let's see, liquid oxygen. And once we hook this up, we should have some liquid oxygen in the system. And that should go in here. Yep, so now we have that filled with liquid oxygen. We're also going to need another pump, which I think we're going to have to craft one up. Not a big deal. No, we do not need 1,000. Just one's fine. Let's see. Oh no. Oh, okay. I thought it was stuck. Thankfully it's not. Cool. Now we can put the pump on here and set that to import. Now we're going to get the liquid oxygen here. Now we're also going to want to put a super tank, which we already made. We just made a super tank 2, and we can put that right here. That's going to be storing all of the RP1. Also want to put a digital interface cover, my new favorite cover in this game. It is so cool to be able to see the fluids inside of there. Awesome. Lastly, these are both EV machines, so we're going to need to power it somehow. And all we need to do that is going to be put some P2Ps on it. So P2Ps on. We already have a memory card that's configured properly. We just got to put these on the bottom, connect those up, and add the cables. So in theory, that should begin to distill some of this RP1. And there we go. We've got our first buckets of rocket fuel RP1. Awesome. And that will slowly build up over time as this thing goes ahead and works. But very, very cool so far. This is going to help so much. All right. Back on track here, we can head on into our storage. We can grab our now finished Elite Assembling Machine. Now this is going to take IV power, and obviously we don't have that yet, so we're going to have to transform it initially, at least until we get the battery tower upgraded, which is the first thing we're going to do. So I think we're going to put this right here. We're going to get rid of this setup. This is antiquated now at this point. We have now moved that all over to there. So this serves no purpose at the current time, so we're going to make a little bit of space here, hopefully not destroy our entire base in the process. Now we can move this cable back here, and we're going to want to have a cable routing into a transformer. And I think we're going to want the bottom be the input. So let's make sure that that's down. Put this cable on it, and then we're going to need to hook up the P2P. This is going to be supplying it with the 4 amps of EV power that we're going to transform into 1 amp of the IV power. Now this is not going to be very fast. Uh-oh. Why'd that not work? Uh-oh, I cleared my memory card. 1 sec. All right, got that fixed. Hopefully now this should get some power. There we go. Now we're getting the IV amp out. Awesome. And we can just very simply hook this up right next to it. I'm not too worried about it. A lot of this stuff will be moved later on. However, we are going to want to connect this to the system so we can request some things. So we want to put, I believe we're probably going to put a dual interface on this just because I know that it'll be getting some fluids and some items. And we don't have any recipes yet, but we will. But hopefully that should be all the items we need. Cool. So now we should be ready to make some recipes and send that into there. And the first recipe that we're going to make is the IV power cell. We have it over here. I don't have the recipe made yet. Okay, so it takes some helium, the EV power cells, and some double tungsten steel plates. All those things should be relatively simple. I did the math on the helium, and we need about 288,000 millibuckets to craft up the amount of power cells that we're going to need, which thankfully we already have that. EV power cells we're going to take from our battery, double tungsten steel. That might be an issue because that's a lot of tungsten steel. So we're going to probably have to let that make up some more tungsten steel. We don't have that fully passive yet, but we have a good amount that we can make. Just a little bit of waiting to get that thing smelted up. But we can go ahead and now put this into here. And it should request all that. We do have a recipe for the tungsten steel double plates. 36 times 4. Let's see, so we got 72, 144. So we're gonna need 144 tungsten steel double plates, and I do not know if we're gonna have enough. Let's see, double plates. We actually, 144. Wow, we actually have enough. We may as well just go ahead and get that started then. This is gonna take a while. Okay, I think it's about time we upgrade our battery tower. We actually ran into a slight problem that, thankfully, creating this RP1 is going to solve that problem. Obviously, we're going to want to use the EV power cells that are in there to upgrade into the IV power cells. However, if we don't have the battery tower formed, this thing's not going to be getting power. So what we're going to do is actually go ahead and craft 4 of these basic rocket engines. And in crafting these, this should allow us to keep this thing up and running while the battery tower is down and we get that upgraded. And it's going to be a little bit. It's going to be 36 minutes to craft. I believe it takes a minute per, so it is no short amount of time. But hopefully with this 192 buckets of rocket fuel, or RP1, we should have enough time to keep this thing up and running. So let me go ahead and get that set up. All right. Little hiccup. I cannot use the basic rocket engines. This fuel is just too potent. I can't use it. So I actually have to use the IV rocket engine, which is fine. Thankfully, we were able to craft that. And hopefully now, if we connect it up with just a little bit of cable, how does this go? Yeah, it comes out that side. Okay, so let's rotate it around. Okay, so now the IV one is connected, we should, in theory, now be able to have this thing run down and give it some of this RP1. Let's go ahead and make sure that this is properly configured. It looks like this thing is spinning, thankfully, and this thing will begin to grab some power. So, in theory, we are now good to go ahead and grab these power cells and get them upgraded. So let's go ahead and break this thing down real quick. We got to get this going as quickly as possible so we minimize the chances of the entire base going down. So we got to go ahead and grab all these. So give me 1 second. Okay, now that we have the EV power cells in here, we should be able to craft ourselves 36 of these IV power cells, and we can start. Now we just got to check and see if this thing's running. It looks like it is, and yeah, it is exactly like I thought. It's going to take 60 seconds to do so. Let's go ahead and turn this on blocking mode so we don't get too much extra stuff going on in there. It shouldn't be an issue since it's only being used for this right now, but we got a little bit of time to wait for this thing to go. But right now, this seems to be keeping up just fine, just the one. But anyway, we learned a little bit about rocket engines today. Short time later, we have our IV power cells. So now we can go ahead and fix back up the battery tower. I'm interested to see how much more power we will get from upgrading these just one tier. So we were at 288 billion before, and now we're gonna see what the new power level is of this battery tower. I'm loving this battery tower. It is making everything so awesome. Let's go ahead and fix this up. Should be turning on here in a minute, and the new power level is 1.1 trillion EU. Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think if we fill that up, we'll be good for a while, but that is awesome. So that is super cool, and that should put everything in the base back online. We are currently crafting a few things. What I do also want to start crafting is some HSS-G dust. We're going to need a couple hundred of these for some new coils. We're going to use these for some new coils. So we're going to go ahead and craft that up as well here. That's also going to take a little bit of time. But when we come back, hopefully we should have all of our HSS-G ready to rock and roll to make ourselves some new coils and some other cool stuff. All right, and the coils should be done. There we go, 26 of them. And that is going to be the perfect amount that we're going to need to upgrade this EBF over here. Yeah, I think 26 is the right number. Hopefully I did the math correctly. So let's find out here. Go ahead and get rid of these ones. This should be a pretty decent upgrade to what we have. Yep, 26. Looks like we did the math right. Look at us. Cool. Place all these in. Oh, yeah. Not the greatest color, but they seem pretty good. Also, to upgrade this, I also added IV energy input hatches, and all I needed to do to make that work was to add an energy output hatch on the battery buffer. So now we have access to move around some IV power around the base. So we have this running at LUV power because we have 4 amps of IV, and we have these upgraded to the next tier coils. So let's go ahead and just see how fast this is by making ourselves some tungsten steel. Oh, nice. Every 4.8 seconds. I think it was like 20 seconds or more before. So this is so much better. And it looks like it's crafting 2 at a time. Oh, no, that's normal. That's normal. Okay. Well, there we go. 2 every 4.8, so it's 2.4 seconds per ingot. Very nice. Cool. Well, that sets us up for in the future to be able to actually smelt some things at a much quicker rate. Obviously, we need to get more blast furnaces, and I have some plans in the works for that. Next on the agenda here is to get ourselves the Elite Fluid Solidifier. Now that we have the IV assembling machine set up, we can go ahead and work right on through this. So the Elite Fluid Solidifier. Let's see. It looks like all we need to craft this is a IV machine hull. We should be able to do this. Just needs a little bit of tungsten steel. There we go. And that should be everything we need. There we go. Elite Fluid Solidifier. I also moved this around a little bit over here, so now we can have a new line of IV machines. Very nice. So we can break out the bottom here to put in the interfaces. And on the back here, we can go ahead and add our P2Ps. Put that on here. All we gotta do is hit it with our memory card. And now this thing is getting power as well. Very nice. This is going to be super important. And why? So we can get ourselves some rhodium-plated palladium. Let's see what this takes. Rhodium-plated palladium plate. All right, so we need the rhodium-plated palladium, or is there another recipe for it? Let's see here. So the ingot. All right, so we need the hot ingots. Okay, so we need palladium ingots and then molten rhodium. The molten rhodium we can do in a fluid extractor. Go ahead and put that in there. And the last one, we need the palladium ingots. Palladium ingots, very simply, we just put them through the blast furnace. Awesome. So let me go ahead and grab up the rhodium and palladium from the plat line. We don't have too much yet, but that will go, that'll get more efficient as we continue to add more stuff to it. We ran it a little bit, so we should have enough for this. Let's get rocking. But first, I think it's time that we make some more progress here on the quest book. And since we just made that elite fluid solidifier, let's go ahead and get ourselves some rhodium-plated palladium. And I spent a lot of time, I shouldn't say a lot of time, I spent a little bit of time setting up some recipes for everything that we're going to need into this elite fluid solidifier. So it should be as simple as going on into here, selecting rhodium-plated palladium and crafting, let's say 64. Let's see if we have enough. And it looks like we do. So we can go ahead and place that down. I actually already made 4 of them just to kind of test it and make sure that it worked. So we should be able to make another recipe for the plates themselves. So let's go into the metal bender. This one's fine. We just need this one, get rid of the circuit, and there we go. Now we have the recipe for the plates as well. So let's go ahead and put that into our bender. This thing's getting pretty full now. It's actually pretty satisfying to see all the different plates that we can make. Cool, and this crafts decently fast. It's not the greatest thing in the world, as it's still using a lot of HV components over here. You know, it's not super quick, but it gets the job done for now, at least until we upgrade our infrastructure all the way. All right, this is not set to blocking mode. We're gonna need to set that as well, so we don't waste any fluids of any kind down the line. Should be fine for now, but we do have some palladium there. While we're waiting, let's go ahead and make some plates. We made 4, so let's make 4. We should easily be able to see those in there now. Cool. And we can take these out, and we completed the quest. There we go. We even get some rhodium salt dust. I don't know why we'd need that. We should have a lot of that at this point in the plat line. So I don't know. Another thing I did forget to mention is I did add some LCRs here. As I was doing some testing for crafting in the quest book here, the Yttrium, Barium, Cuprate ingots. So we did all the stuff for that. Obviously, we're going to need to automate this at some point. It should be able to just be handled on demand in one of these LCRs, so it'll just be a little bit of recipe encoding for that. But we may as well complete the quest because we were able to create 52 of these ingots. So those will be useful in creating ourselves some wires that are going to be important in making some LUV components. Continuing with the theme of crafting more components, we got a couple more things we're going to want to get encoded here. First of which, let's start with these elite circuit boards. We're going to need this multi-layer reinforced circuit board as well. That'll be going into a chemical reactor, and then once again here we're going to use the iron 3 chloride recipe to get ourselves the elite circuit board. Both of these will go into a chem reactor. Yeah, there we go. We can put those right in here. Cool. And then the last things we want to do are making these improved nether stars and these improved ender eyes. I'm not exactly sure what these are used for. I think they are used for these qubit CPUs, or at least the improved ender eye is. But let's go ahead and start with the nether star. Fairly simple. Chemical bath. It's going to be molten plutonium. We're going to make a recipe for that as well. We do have the plutonium, so that'll be extractor. And then this will be chemical bath. And I think the ender eye is also a chemical bath. More plutonium-244. Okay, so these are going to go in the bath. And then an extractor. We may need to add a... Oh, looks like we already did. Cool. So we can put the 244 in there for that. Cool. So now we can craft a couple of those. Let's get the nether star. Let's do 10. That takes quite a bit of plutonium. Let's do 10 of these as well. These are going to take a while to craft since they're both using the chemical bath, but at least for right now, we should let those things go ahead and craft up. Not super bad. This is a little bit of a long recipe, but we will get those at some point. Cool. The ender eye, improved ender eye, and the improved nether star have finished crafting. and we got the quest for those. We also went ahead and made recipes for making ourselves elite circuit boards, and we went ahead and made an entire stack of those for when we're going to need those. Qubit CPU is something that we're going to need to work on next. LUV machine hole is also something that we can work into, but we're actually going to make some 2x Yttrium Barium Cuprate cable because that required a little bit more pattern encoding to do. So we're going to go ahead and let that craft up. It looks like we have everything we need. We had to do quite a bit of recipes for this to get the dichlorobenzene and to actually convert this polyphenylene into all the different things that we're going to need. So we can go ahead and start that recipe. It shouldn't take too long to do. The cluster mill is probably going to be the backup once again, because we do need quite a bit of it to coat these 16 2x cables. So that can kind of go ahead and go. Now this is used in the robot arms, and as you can see, if you click on the robot arm recipe, we need the assembly machine, the assembly line, to finally get this thing up and running to start crafting the LUV components. All of the LUV components have to be crafted in the assembly line, and that is definitely something that we're going to want to get set up. So I've kind of been looking at this quest, and it looks like it's going to be extremely expensive to get all the stuff we're going to need. It takes so many circuits to make that. So we're going to have to get that started on the crafting, because that's going to take a while. So let's kind of start here and figure out exactly what the things are that we're going to need. I already made recipes for them. We just got to start the craft. 20x great machine casings. I think that's one of the easiest things. Great casings. We're going to need 20 of them. I don't know if we have enough. Oh, looks like we have enough. Cool. So we can go ahead and start that craft as well. This also opened up a slot for another crafting CPU. We do want to upgrade these at some point, but I've got plans for that as well. I'm keeping it a little bit secret. Some stuff I want to unveil later in this episode. But yeah, I got plans for all this stuff. Cool. So the great casings, we got 20 of those cooking up. Reinforced glass we have. We just got to grab it. But the expensive things are going to be these assembly line casings and the assembler machine casings. I guess we'll start with the machine casings. The assembler machine casings. Where is the recipe? Here it is. And we need 9 of those, and we're going to craft 9. We need more CPU wafers. We need more carbon, cerium, copper, silicone. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that we need for this. Thankfully, it doesn't look like it's too difficult. The stuff we need is not too hard to get. The CPU wafers are going to take a little bit of time for us to craft up. I'm surprised I don't have a recipe for that yet. Let's see exactly what we need. Precision laser engraver with glowstone dupe bowls, probably. Yeah, you can use the regular ones, but I think we should have the glowstone duped bowls now. So we're probably going to use that recipe. And a diamond lens. Does it need a diamond lens? Let's check it one more time. We can use a glass lens. Okay, we should be able to put that where we want. Let's get glass lens and put that in the recipe, because I think we do have one of those. So we'll switch that for a glass lens. This is going to go in the laser engraver. Ooh, do I not have that hooked up? I may not have this hooked up. Precision laser engraver. It already has the glass lens. I must have named it something. Let's see here. Forming press. Chemical bath. Ooh, it looks like it isn't hooked up. Okay, so we're gonna need to get a interface hooked up to this. I think we can just use an ME one. So an ME interface on that. Then we can hook this up. We're also gonna want to name this. We'll call it HV Engraver 1, and we'll say we'll put glass lens, because that is what we have in there right now, which should be the majority of recipes. But there we go, we now have that made. We're gonna need to make some more of that. I think we need to make some more of these glowstone doped wafers as well. Let's see, how hard are those? We need the bowls and glowstone. These shouldn't be too bad. We could probably make quite a bit of these. Glowstone bowls, just silicone, glowstone, nitrogen. Okay, that's not too bad to make. I may need to set up a little bit of an automation in the clay line to get some extra silicone and stuff like that. But give me a second to kind of figure that out a little bit. And hopefully when we hop back, we have some more progress being made. I know we're jumping around a lot today, but I wanted to make some progress in the quest book. Turns out we actually had a lot more of the clay dust laying around the base than we thought. So we were actually able to go ahead and do a bunch of crafting here. And I took the liberty of crafting up all the components we're going to need for the assembly line. And the last piece that we need is right here, the actual control block. That's another quest completed. We actually get some tungsten ingots out of that, which is not too bad of a reward for once. We don't get too many of those. So let's go ahead and build this thing up. I've been interested to see how this thing's going to work. I have a spot for it down here that I've been planning to put it down here in the corner, because we're going to need to have access to the underside of this because of the way it's built. Now, I'm not 100% sure, so let's double check this one more time. And it looks like we have an input hatch up here at the top. I don't think there's an output, so it's just the input there. Okay, interesting. Now, I think we need to use these these ULV input buses to hook this up. So we're going to start with making this thing 5 long. And right here, we actually might end up doing 6, technically, because we need an output bus, and that's what this is going to be. Right here in the back. Cool, then we can put our maintenance hatch right here. Let's go ahead and help ourselves out by getting the controller block down, and then we can use our freedom wrench to figure this thing out. All right, where is that bad boy? Here it is. Cool. Let's make sure that it's set to preview. All right, we can put our hatch on this side. It says we have 2, but I don't know. We'll see if we can form it with 1. Let's try that first. Get these solid steel machine casings down. It looks like it wants us to put the output on that one. So let's do that. Just for now, just to see if we can get this thing formed. And then we can see how much we're able to expand it. All right, and then in the middle, we need to place these blocks. Cool, and then we can take our glass around the sides here. And we can take our grate casings, our assembly machine casings, and our energy input. Energy input can go right underneath here at the top. Put that right there. I believe all the grates go on the side. And then in the middle, we put the assembler casings. And then in theory, we should just be able to line the top here with the solid steel machine casings. Oh, there we go. It looked like it formed. We can go ahead and fix this thing up. And this thing's looking pretty sick. This thing looks pretty cool. We're going to have access to the other side of this because of these buses, so that we can actually put the recipes in. There's a lot of configuring that's necessary to get this thing actually up and running, which hopefully I will be able to do some research on that for the next episode. We aren't quite done yet. I have one more thing that I'd like to tease a little bit. Basically, I'm tired of this base. I'm tired of this gray, blocky structure because I feel like I'm better than that. I feel like I'm capable of building something so much cooler. And for those of you that haven't caught the streams recently, you don't know what I'm talking about. But for those of you who have been able to see exactly what we're working on. And we're not done yet. And it's going to be a long process. And you'll see why here in just a minute. So, to leave this one off, it's going to show you the new base. Well, guys, there you go. I hope you enjoyed. Obviously, as you can see, this is a huge project, and it is going to take some time to get this done. And we've been doing all the building on stream, so just another reason to go ahead and check those streams out when we have those, and you can continue to see the progress of this base go. I would say we're going to be moving into here as soon as we possibly can, so the building is going to be going at a rapid pace. We completed a lot in today's stream, the day before this video got uploaded. But yeah, it has been an awesome and super fun and refreshing. It has taken a break from the tech grind that we've been working on, and it just allowed me to kind of flex my creative muscle a little bit more. So it's a big change from our gray stone brick block house. So this is a base that's more befitting of the technological mastery that we're starting to encounter here. So that's where I'm going to leave you guys off. If you did enjoy today's episode, please hit the like button. And if you're new, please subscribe. It really helps me out, and it lets me know that you guys are enjoying the series. But yeah, once again, guys, I appreciate you for hanging out. It's been Eagle. Peace.